Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Nell!
I know.
Yeah.
Now, how are you doing with the arrhythmia?
Yeah, oh, fantastic. It's started.
Oh, great. Okay, so that your cure lasted. That's wonderful.
Yeah. There you go.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And what was the final thing that you cured that actually took the arrhythmia down?
I went back to the very cause of it.
Which was?
When I first had it.
Okay.
No, but what actually caused it? That's what I went back to, and I found that. And that was, once I moved that, the whole thing is collapsed. But the video on.
A long time ago.
Yes, I was 45.
Right.
And it's been quiet ever since.
So what happened? What caused it? I know it's hard. I was trying to do the same thing with my scoliosis.
What was the cause? Now, what was the cause? What caused it? What did you take? What did you cure? So, if you want to really know somebody, talk to Barb, because Barb really shows herself. And see, that's a real plus, for you. That is a real. That makes you great. That's what's great about you. Something. You have greatness, Barb. See, that's the thing about you, Barb. You have greatness. Like Daisy had greatness. The other dogs were, each dog was great in his or her own way. I think that, for example, Zeke, probably assimilated greatness from being with us.
Yeah, he did.
He kind of became great, whereas Daisy was great when I met her. She already had it.
Huh.
So that's a big difference. I think that's a very big difference.
Remember when we adopted her, and the guy who ran the Arboretum came by to look at the house. They were thinking of buying it, so forth. He looked at her and said, "That's the one I would keep."
Yeah, right.
Keep her.
Yeah, you could tell. People could just look at her and tell. So I want to. Nell, can you hear me?
She's mute. You're muted now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
There you are.
Okay. I was in the middle. We wanted to find out what exactly did you cure that cured the heart arrhythmia.
I cured a night in the hospital where after I had an abortion there, and that night I was sure I was going to die because I couldn't find any signs of an operation they were going to do for me. And all night I had to make arrangements to think of what I'm going to do with my son. It was a terrible night, but then in the morning I found out she cauterized the tubes so I wouldn't get any more children. And I thought I hadn't done this, but they did do it. So everything was okay after that, but I really missed the whole thing.
So you scared yourself?
I missed the whole thing.
Uh-huh. And so you relived the whole thing, and you cured the heart arrhythmia by reliving it.
By closing a trauma.
I went right to the court.
You closed the trauma.
Did I close the trauma? Yes, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
Closed it.
You look different. You do. You look younger.
So that's a kind of interesting thing that people should realize. You've been doing this, you've been curing things this way for 15 years, and you just cured the heart arrhythmia after doing this, and you didn't start doing this to cure heart arrhythmia. That's not why you came in here. You know, that's just another thing that came up that you cured. But still, it's interesting that like after 15 years, you still have physical diseases cropping up, and you still cure them, and some of these diseases could be very troublesome or even lethal.
Yeah. That's still occurred me, heart rhythm, they can.
Well, I'm expecting to have you around with us for a long time, Nell.
Oh yes, at least till 90.
Now, I want to ask, here, Ross, I want to ask you a question, okay? So the question I want to ask you is, at the last meeting, I identified two things that are the two key things that make a difference with tipping cure into global consciousness. What are those two things?
Let me tell you the truth. I don't remember.
Okay.
Shame on me. I'm sorry.
No, I think that is, I kind of expected this, because I'm looking around at the people in the meetings, and you know, there are other people who come to these meetings than the people who are here today. But I think that this is a pretty common thing, that people come to the meeting and they say, oh, well, I'm going to get my little hit here, I'm going to get my, I'm going to get into the meeting now, and matter of fact, I'm just calling Ron to see if he's going to be in the meeting. But they don't actually come and remember the things they need to remember or act on them. So that's, something for us to, like, that's where we are right now. Like, there isn't, like, there's a problem that everybody, I think, shares. And, Barb, I wanted to say, like, I was thinking about your use of virtual realities and, planning to talk to you about that today. And I started to think that you might get a lot more out of, like, you might learn more about your virtual realities if I talked about other people's virtual realities. Mm-hmm. And you can listen to that and hear, because we talk about yours sometimes, and why don't we talk about somebody else's? Now, see, the thing about Ross is, like, Ross, do you have any idea what the virtual realities that you are maintaining and living in are?
Well, for example, with my cats,
Yeah.
because I see them like children, and I have this need to protect them, and I don't think that they need protection. They really need protection because they're animals, and they're different from humans. And it's not only with cats, but I've had this virtual reality all my life, also with my sister, with my brother. I have to protect people, and I think this is virtual reality.
Okay, test it.
Okay, is what I talked about virtual reality. I get yes.
Okay, and what about with your husband?
With my husband, no, I don't think I'm in a virtual reality. I'm doing what I need to do with him, and now, as I have tweeted, he has decided to go to a hospice, which is a very good place, and he decided himself. When he asked me for advice, I told him, this is your home, I am your wife, I'm here to do everything for you, but you have to make this decision yourself. And he decided to go. So I let him decide. So I don't think I'm in a virtual reality with my husband. I'm very well aware that my husband is going to leave me for good.
Did you, let me ask this, did your situation with Robbie bring you into reality and cause you to see through and stop using your virtual realities to some extent?
I guess yes. Absolutely yes.
Okay. But I guess, just not enough so that you can fully participate on the CureTeam and actually, take in what's being said and remember it and apply it. Let's go to Greg here.
Yeah.
Now, there were two things that I said last week, that these two things make the key difference that you can do, and they're probably the only things that you can do that make any difference. So what are those things?
Well, I don't remember.
Okay, so you don't remember either.
Say.
So let's talk about your virtual realities. Okay? What would you say are the virtual realities that you maintain?
Well, in this regard, it's that that whatever is real or important should sort of be self-generated, rather than I have to remember something that is told to me.
Okay, maybe I should cut to the chase here, because you're talking about something different than I'm talking about, and maybe what you're talking about is worthwhile and a good thing to talk about, and it probably is a virtual reality.
Or not,
but it's more like just an idea that you have. It's a belief. It's an immune dysfunction is what it is. It's not necessarily a virtual reality. It's just an immune dysfunction. You believe such and such, and that compromises your immune system. Okay? So, but we're not doing, immune dysfunctions right now, so we're doing virtual reality. So, maybe I ought to just cut to the chase.
We could talk about virtual realities, or I was trying to relate it to what you just asked, which I have an idea, which is that you just be yourself and share yourself all the time, your cures, and that you talk to people and have them get more and more in touch with their virtual reality, that their sickness or whatever it is. And that's essentially everything's sort of directed towards that.
And do you do that in your day-to-day life?
I do that a lot in my day-to-day life, yeah.
Can you tell us a story about doing that yesterday?
I spent time with my brother and his girlfriend, and while we're cleaning my brother's condo, I would ask him questions about how he does things, and I would actually say, this is how you do it. And I would just make statements if it was. I'd say, well, everybody needs other people to tell them things from the outside. It's how things are, and I'm saying this for me as well as you. I'm just declaring this is how you live a good life.
And do you think he's going to take that away and use it?
Yes.
Okay, so in your meeting, you actually are reaching the person you're meeting with, and he's going to apply what you're telling him. Now, if I can have that with you, I'll be doing great. And actually, what you were saying about how to conduct yourself is some kind of primitive version of the things that make the key difference.
I realize I'm a primitive when it comes to... when you talk, people can study primitive. I'm not talking about primitive in that untrained and so forth, and just throw all that shit up against the wall and see what sticks. I'm talking about you train and you learn and so forth, and then you just keep coming from that primitive base.
I just think you have an incredible sense of humor, is what I think.
Yeah, I think it's part of that is irreverence.
Yes.
To anything.
Yes.
Whatsoever.
Yes, that's part of it. That's your greatness. Your irreverence. To the extent that you allow it and use it and put it out there, and you show greatness. You manifest your greatness. So, okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what your virtual realities are. What you were saying is how you need other people to tell you from outside about yourself, like you were saying that to your brother. So I'll do a little of that here now. And your virtual reality is that you're an acting student and that you're, possibly going to pursue a career in some kind of, related media field or whatever, and also that when you maintain these virtual realities, that's where your passion goes. So you're like pouring your passion and time, energy into that, and using resources that you can't afford to... See, this is the problem with virtual realities, that like people basically want their virtual realities, and I'm really talking about everybody who uses virtual realities. They want them more than they want reality and more than they want results. And sometimes, the virtual realities actually interfere with you understanding what you really do want and setting up your life so that you have what you really want. Because with a virtual reality, you're telling yourself that you want something that you don't actually want. The whole thing is a play act. Is that plane going over your place, Greg?
Yeah.
Okay. So, there's other ones too, Some of the things that you do, by the way, are just healthy things that you do that are nice activities, and that you could do the things that make a difference while you're doing them. For example, going to the yoga classes at the health club. You could probably do the two things that make the critical difference while you're there to some extent, anyway.
If you can't, then you can't do anything. If you can't do those things while you are living.
Well, and what you have to realize is that people who tip things, people like Steve Jobs, for example, there are a lot of things that they do that they can't do anywhere, and they can't do them, and so they can't live. It's like what it comes down to is they, or at least there's a period of time in their life. Like I was reading an article about Bill Gates or whatever, or maybe it was an article about this golf club. But there's a golf club that Bill Gates belongs to. And I was thinking, gee, I didn't know Bill Gates played golf. It seems to me like that would be a very time-consuming kind of activity for him. And he probably doesn't have the time to play golf. But yet, now he does. In fact, he has the time to be a major activist. An anti-disease activist.
Sure.
He's kind of given up Microsoft. He's passed that on, and he's trying to change the world now. he believes that he's big enough to change the world. Like if he could figure out Microsoft, he can figure out how to end disease. And, you know, he can't, he needs us, but he's going in the right direction. You know,
he's going in the right direction. He's focused on a grosser aspect of it and moving towards it.
And one thing I can also say about him is, as far as raising the hundreds of millions of dollars that he needs to raise from other people, so he can't just use his own money. He's got to get other people on board, because if he doesn't, the effect is going to be very vapid. You know, it's not going to be the world changing the world. It's going to be Bill Gates changing the world, and he knows better than that. But he can do that while he's playing golf at a golf club. Like, he can walk along with these people and, you know, play golf, and he can, you know, get somebody to give $10 million on the links. You know, you can do that kind of activity on a golf course.
Right.
So, just to get back to you, probably the real, whatever, see, like, maybe I'm not hitting the nail on the head, because you probably have virtual realities that you're maintaining with your brother that interfere with you doing the key activities while you're with him. And like for example, one of the key activities is practicing. And you probably don't practice doing it right when you're with your brother. I doubt it.
Sure, I don't. I've essentially given up.
Yeah.
I'm doing that.
So when you
to me, he's too reactive, and
when you spend,
shuts off and runs away, and
that's right.
I know that's something I've always, ever since we started. You know, I met you, and BHA and so forth. I've been trying to reach him, but ever since I was young, I was trying to reach him, and I've allowed. Yeah. Actually. The change has been that
The key word in that sentence is trying.
Yeah, right, that I've not tried.
No, you have tried, but that's the problem. You got to stop trying and actually do or not do. That was the whole thing about trying. In this case, that is very applicable. You can't try with your brother. You got to do or not do.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the big change, that I don't try. So maybe I don't do as well as I would be able to do. I have to.
Well, a virtual reality with your brother might be that you have something that you don't really have. And he might be willing to participate in that, too. So you might both share. Like, see, there's a lot of people who are in shared virtual realities. Like that. For example, let me just give you an example. Let's say you take two people who are in negative beingness, and they get married, and they share this virtual reality. Like, we're partners, we love each other, we have a family, we have a home, you know, and they can share that virtual reality until they're dead, and they will never have bonded. They can't bond. They're in negative beingness. And if somebody is in negative beingness, they can't bond. It's impossible. They have to come out of negative beingness. Now, of course, this is not as black and white as I'm making it sound, because the fact is that people who are, you know, the way you come out of negative beingness is by bonding. You know, you do these halting steps, and the way you bond is by committing to somebody else being real, and, you know, you make a commitment and you stick with it. So actually, you know, the marriage that they have may very well be the key to coming out of negative beingness. Except, if you watch them, you just see they're not using it that way.
Yeah.
I'll just, to go to Barb. Barb, you there with me? Can I?
Yes.
You're there, okay.
Yes.
You have often pointed out to me this reality about other people's relationships.
Yep.
I just want to say. And you get angry about it, and you say, look at these two people, they're just soft soaping each other, they're bullshitting each other, right? Have you said that?
I even thought about our meetings and stuff that way. Yep.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
We're all really just in negative beingness, we're not acting on any of this stuff, and we're...
Yeah, that was my VR, that any of this would make a difference, that if we just keep doing this, we're going to make something happen, if I just show up.
Okay. So to go back to Greg, my conversation with you, just to try to get to the, crux of it, see, you, of all people, what the reality for you is that, you've got to make this happen, you've got to tip Cure. It may be that nobody but you is going to do it. There may not be anybody else to do it. You look at this meeting and you see the other people in the meeting and you say, well, are they going to do it? Byard hasn't done it, What's the likelihood of one of the other people here doing it? Well, so you have got to come out of, you've got to stop using and maintaining virtual realities. Because you can't put your focus on tipping Cure if you can't do that and that. It's just very unlikely that tipping Cure is going to be a part-time, this little thing that you find a little time for, during the day here and there. Because for one thing, you're not making yourself feel good enough.
Yeah.
You're not making yourself feel powerful enough. The only way you can make yourself feel good and powerful is by being in reality. Because when you use virtual realities, there's always the rude awakening. There's always the negative awareness that this really isn't it. No matter how passionate you are about it.
Sure.
To use Franny as an example, tell you what, you go on mute, and Franny, you're a telephone icon, but whatever.
Yes.
Okay. You maintain, you're about 100 pounds heavier than you need to be.
Right.
And that is your way of maintaining a virtual reality.
Okay.
Do you have any idea what the virtual reality is that you maintain by doing that?
No. Well, I have ideas. I don't know if they're...
What are some of them?
Well, it's protection.
So it's a virtual reality that you're safe.
Yeah.
From what?
People.
Tell you one thing, you find out who really loves you.
True.
Because you say, oh, well, this person still loves me and I'm 100 pounds heavier than I need to be. And that person still loves me. So you're safe from, from loving somebody who doesn't love you back. Right?
Right.
Okay, so there's a way you could say you're safe. Sounds good. Can't make yourself feel good enough to go after the big fish, that way. I should probably talk to somebody who I can talk to. I'll go to Barb, okay? I've been giving you a lot of thought, always, for 30 years. But one reason that I think about you a lot is, see, there's a big difference between you and most other people, because when I look at, like, let's say Greg, okay? Greg, oh, let me go back to Greg, okay?
Okay.
Thing about you, Greg, is that you're passive aggressive. Like you know, you keep all of your illusions really kind of quiet. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like you sort of live in these illusions, and nobody really knows much about what they are but you. And you know, you don't like engender people thinking about you or nailing you. Like when you tweet, most of your tweets are like really nice, and there aren't very many of them, so we don't see much of you. You know, you're not really inviting people into your life to actually guide you and help you improve and help you become powerful and like help you be, like, express your greatness. Like people aren't going to interact with you in a way that inspires you to express your greatness. You know, because
Yep.
you're just not, like, you're not showing much.
Yep.
You try to do things that people want, and maybe we should all test is when Greg does things that people want for them, is he supporting them in maintaining virtual realities? I'm actually getting no on that, but what does everybody else get?
I got kind of no, yes, I don't know.
Okay, so we could say sometimes, you know. Ross,
Yeah, sometimes.
I get yes.
It depends on whether I am or I'm not.
it's good. That's good enough. Yeah, that's a good enough answer for that too, actually. So, okay. Now with Barb, on the other hand, to go back to Barb, see, Barb, you're very visible. Like, you make yourself very obvious and very visible. And that's, see, you attract a lot of support. Like, you attract a lot of people. Well, it's also why you attract people, give you places to live. I mean, like, you're in a place now, I guess you're at Nancy's now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's, somebody gave you a place to live there. It's a beautiful place. Yeah. And it was exactly what you wanted. And you didn't like living in your place, I guess, you know, your apartment, because it was maybe too far out of town or something. I don't know, but
Yeah, it's far out of town, small.
you sort of moved, like, you like Nancy's because it's bigger. And I don't know, your apartment always seemed kind of big to me. It was a one-bedroom apartment with a bathroom. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
what do
really
you
cute.
need? You know, I was like,
Yeah.
seemed big.
Uh-huh.
And you like the people in your building too, so you had friends there and stuff. But
Yeah.
maybe, like, I don't know if Nancy's is bigger, but it seems like the ceiling is higher,
Yeah, it has that really big feeling.
and that you like having a high ceiling. So maybe
I do.
you know,
I
maybe
do.
that's like better. But somebody gave you a house at Oho, so you could go up to Oho and
Yeah.
stay there and go to the hot tub and so on. So, you know, you attract a lot of people giving you a lot of things.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do is actually have, like, I would like you to be a role model for people, actually not exactly attracting, but actually going over to people and asking them to give things and having them say yes and give them. And then they probably would fall into things also like you do and get things that way too, and that'd be great, you know.
Right. Right.
But I want people to, like, by their own efforts, like, ask and receive, because I think that that's the place where they feel a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, that's been easier for me than just asking for money. Like, I got this really nice smartphone a friend gave me. It's a really good one.
Oh,
And,
what kind is it?
I get body work, and I get, it's a really cool, it's a really nice one.
Show it. Let's put it up to the screen so we can see. Do you know what it is? What kind it is?
Yeah, it's like a, It's it's an LG 4G phone. It's a really good one.
What's the name of it?
It's a special Google phone. I don't know what the name of it is. T-Mobile. Well, I'm hooked up to T-Mobile now.
Okay, so it's a Droid. That's what I'm planning to get.
Oh yeah, it's a Droid. It's a Droid. And I mean, I also got this iPod that you encouraged me to get, but I haven't been using it much yet.
I have to tell you that
I got this computer was given to me by Angela Gabriel.
Oh, great!
But I think it's easier to get things that I need than just cash money because people have extras. People often have extras, and then it's like things that are used for my work.
Well, also, churches. You're a church. Churches do get they have programs where they get things. People give cars. Now I see billboards around here now. There are churches. There's a coalition of churches, and they have a program where people donate their boats.
Sure, anything you can donate.
A lot of people have boats that they want to give away. I found.
They have that here. They have like that here with cars where they come and pick them up.
Well, yeah, churches have they take cars and they give them to their parishioners who don't have cars that need people.
I think my challenge has been to how to have people know. Like Nancy knows me because we're so close, but like what do I do? That's what's my mission. So they understand.
Which is precisely why I gave you that program to run. So that people can know and understand you, because you will have a high profile and stand for something. If you walk around all day asking people to donate their money, put bumper stickers on their cars, and then also teaching people who have time to stop how to test. Just a little aside while I'm thinking of it. You might get more out of your smartphone if you go to like Best Buy and go over to the, like here Best Buy has a Samsung guy in there who teaches people how to use those phones that you have, the Droid phones. So there's chairs that he go up to his desk and he'll show you how to use your phone. Yeah,
I've been there. Those are cool.
Yeah, and they'll teach you all about the apps you can get and so on.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it.
Oh yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, I picked it up fast.
Yeah,
I have a really nice headset for it, but I don't know where that went. That's too much. I think I bought the wrong kind.
Right.
I spent $70 cash of my own money.
Wow.
To buy a Bluetooth headset.
It is very easy to lose Bluetooth headsets.
Disappeared. Yep.
I learned the hard way, and I keep it only in specific places.
Yeah.
I never put it anywhere but the places where I always put it, and that's where I can always find it. Because
good idea.
Yeah, because I have had days where I could not, or hours anyway, where I could not find the headset. And I learned fast. I just said, no more. Not putting it there. Not throwing it in the laundry bin.
I wonder if that's where it went.
Yeah, because I wanted to carry it downstairs, so I threw it in the laundry bin, because the laundry bin was going downstairs.
I do that sometimes, yeah.
Oh, boy.
That's one of the things that my husband taught me. Always put the things and the items in the same places if you want to find them.
That's true.
Yep. So now, to get back to like your virtual reality, see, I know you 30 years, okay? And one thing that I know about you is that you want a virtual relationship, but you don't want an actual significant other, like a ball and chain. You do not actually want to have a girlfriend who you're, like committed to, and you live together and you build a life and all that. You don't want to do that.
Well, what I want is a girlfriend that's committed to me, that wants to build a life, because I don't want to give up my life for a girlfriend again. Or I want a girlfriend that, I actually do want a committed relationship, but I want the person to be like walking with me instead of me walking with them, you know what I mean? I want something.
Yes. What I realized later, see, I'm like you, and what I realized later, see, in your mind, that person exists, but in reality, nobody is like that.
Right. That's why I have. Yeah, I'm
What
starting
you're
to-
actually interested in having is a dog. Dogs do that.
That's what I want. So fun having my cat here. I know, it's true. I just want someone to be here when I come home, or someone that's available when I'm ready for them. But I don't want to have to take out of my.
That's
so I feel
right.
like I'm doing
That's
something I don't
exactly
want to
right.
slow
So
down.
see, what you want is a friend, buddy, like Nancy. Like you've
Yeah.
got it. You know,
Yeah.
you live at Nancy's. Nancy comes over. You notice how glad you are to see now. Like, sometimes Nancy comes in, and when you're in the meeting, you know,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
turn to her, you say, "Hey, Nancy," and she comes over and she says hello to us and stuff.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
just,
that's the kind of girlfriend I want.
it's nurturing. Like
Yep.
you're like you love being like around Nancy, because Nancy is not demanding that you come through for her and you do this and you go to the store with her and I don't have anybody to go to the movies with me, you know all this stuff, you know, and like let's make dinner together, you know. She's not doing that. I want more sex. She isn't doing that, you know.
Maybe that's the secret, to keep picking married women.
Or whatever, you know.
Just
The
kidding.
secret
Yeah, you're right.
is
I think
to
that's actually a lot. You know, I have
see. The
more
secret
women.
is to know what you want, and
Yeah.
not and then go after, like.
I just I want to do my work and have someone like Nancy just that believes in me and empowers me, does her best to
And she does.
keep things out of my way. Yeah, she does.
She does.
She does.
So does Robbie. Robbie believes in you.
True.
He empowers you. He loves
Yeah.
you.
I've known them a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, ever since I met him, the same time you met him,
Yep. 20 years almost.
20 years ago.
Mhm.
So that's the, you know. See, the thing is that what you need to get used to is doing, like going out and getting money for yourself.
Yeah.
Like going out and saying, see, because look, suppose you set a minimum of $30 a day and 20 people, right? Probably there's going to be some days where you break like $200 or $300.
Right.
Like you might hit $500 or $600 one day. By the time the month ends, you turn around and you took in $2,000 or $3,000. You know, and then you buy a house and a car, and you know the kind of car you want, and you have 2 cars, and you know then I can come to Santa Fe and visit you because you'll have a car for me. You know, so like that. See, that's how you do it. You do it for yourself. That was what, like when I went into business for myself, that's how it started. It started with me just going out and selling stuff on the street myself, and I'd make myself, my rent was $80 a month. It was 1970. You know, you could go get a great sushi dinner for $15.
Wow.
So I'd go out and I'd make myself, you know, like usually at least a couple $100 every week. So I was, you know, pulling, you know, in like, you know, and then I'd buy more material. I used to reinvest a lot of money in the business. So I'd take in $1,000 a month. I didn't need anywhere near $1,000 to be very comfortable, buy anything I wanted. So I put the money into more things for the business. I bought more jewelry. I bought links and stuff, you know, which of course led to making more money. And then that led to saying, well, why not get a whole bunch of people out selling the stuff for me, which with belts worked very well. I had like 20 peddlers on, 30 at times on the street. And then I took in a lot of money, you know, like way a lot of money, like big money, you know. And and then I could pay Stuart big money for the materials. And like it came Christmas week of 71, I was bringing him like $2,000 or $3,000 every day.
Wow.
You know, and he was happy. And then when he got that guy popped the question to him about making watch bands, he immediately thought of me. Well, here's somebody who could put these. I don't have to do anything. I could just set Gavin was my name at the time. I'll just set Gavin up and he'll make the watch bands. So all I got to do is I got the account, and I bet I can get more accounts. So, and I'll just hand this off. I don't have to do anything. So that's why he set me up in business, because it took him all of, 15 hours to set me up in business. And it would have taken him a lot more time than that to actually do the thing himself. He finally became an assembler. And you know how he did it? He bought somebody else's company for $1 million. I was standing with them in the street when he bought it. The four like his father and this guy was a friend of his father's. His father, Irv Winston, Stewart, and me were standing there, and he bought his business. And he made a payment agreement with him for $100,000 a year. Irv was dying of cancer, and he paid his heirs. Except I don't think he ever got to pay it off, because Stewart died of AIDS in 1984. What a tragedy that was. And see, that's one of the things that got me so on the warpath about wanting to tip Cure into global consciousness, because AIDS takes people like Stewart out.
Yep.
And Perry Ellis, and like great people, people who we want to have these people around. And cancer does the same thing. Like there's Angelina Jolie, somebody who we want to have around. And our job is reaching her. How do we do that? And there's these two things that we have to do. And one of them is we have to practice. And that means it doesn't matter who you ask for money or who you show how to test.
Yeah, it's practice.
It's just all practice. So you can practice with somebody. See, that's the thing, is that one of the aspects of your virtual reality that you've tried to maintain is that you don't you base your success on whether the other person cures it. But that's not your success. That's their success. That's your mistake. See, you're not, if they cure it, you didn't succeed. You only succeed when you do something and you get something from that. Then you've succeeded. Like you ask somebody for money and they give you some, so you've succeeded. Or you show somebody how to test and he cures something, so you've succeeded. But if he goes off and then dies, that has nothing to do with you. Or if he goes off and then cures it, you could say, sure, well, hey, that started with me. See, that is my success in a certain way. That there's many, many people out there who give me absolutely no credit for their, curing something. But they're curing it because I did this. And if I hadn't done this, they would either be dead or sick. And they give me no credit, but I can say to myself, you know what? I succeeded with that person. I'm allowed to do that. That's not a virtual reality. That really is solid, genuine success. It's authentic. So any kind of virtual reality that you ever try to maintain will destroy your ability to tip cure or succeed or know you have succeeded. Like that woman. You watched that movie.
Yeah.
Can you tell us her name? Do you know it? I don't know it. I don't remember.
It's right here. Brené Brown.
Okay, Brené Brown. So she's a pretty cool speaker. I've enjoyed listening to her talks. And how did you relate what she said to you?
Because, oftentimes I will say things or show things in movies and so forth, and then I'll delete them later, or delete them the next day, or just want to erase everything because I feel like I'm showing something about myself that looks weak or indulgent, or just the people are turned off by it. Okay, and So I think it just undermines people understanding what what I'm trying to do or what I'm about. I have this idea of I'm still trying to figure out how to do it right, and so I erase everything that, even though I feel it in the moment, I'll erase it later.
Well, I'll tell you how to do it right. Walk down the street and walk up to people and ask them to put a bumper sticker on their car and or donate something. Or meet people places and simply, teach them how to cure things and ask them for money. That's how to do it right, and that's how you become famous. And the thing is, these TED movies, I just want to say this I'd say this to Ross. Ross, do you you've watched some of the movies in the movie list, right, in my...
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand that what you're doing in these meetings is you're training yourself to give a TED Talk?
Yes.
Okay. So, good. Because what I'm telling you to do is to, do that until, go walk down the street and ask for ask people for these things, show them how to cure things with them, and so on, and ask them for money until you're famous.
Yeah, but that seems funny that I don't really want to be famous, I guess. Okay.
Okay, you just did it again. See, that's the maintaining the virtual.
That's what I think people you want to be famous. It's like,
that's maintaining the virtual reality.
Yeah.
That's maintaining the virtual reality right there. You're trying to project a virtual reality that other people participate in.
Yeah, I'm trying to make myself palatable to people, and
which means you're toxic.
Hmm.
Anybody who sucks other people into virtual realities is toxic.
But what's the virtual reality that I'm trying to suck people into?
Okay, why don't we talk about Jen?
Okay.
Now, I'll use Greg and you. Now, I want to discuss Jen. Greg, you're off mute?
Yep.
Okay. Now, here's what happened, okay? Jen and her husband decided that they wanted to, resolve issues that they have. That means they wanted to get in touch with reality. Am I on the money here?
Well, ostensibly on the surface, yeah.
In other words, you can't resolve issues. Okay, forget about that. Maybe they had a whole different.
They did.
Yeah, they did. They
both did.
So they decided they were going to do an immersion weekend to resolve issues. Now, what was then discovered was that their idea of resolving issues maybe wasn't exactly getting in touch with reality or resolving anything. What they wanted to do was maintain virtual realities that they were both very attached to.
Right.
And Barb, would you say that's accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So now Jen had a whole agenda for the immersion weekend that she told you, and she said, "Well, I didn't get what I wanted."
Yeah, but basically, I'm the one who told her that. That's why it was backwards. I'm the one who told her. I made promises, which is not right. I said that immersion will either help you guys break up better or stay together. Break up, more clear. And she said neither of those happened. Now they're breaking up, but it's bad.
Yeah, but that wasn't unrealistic.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought it was pretty...
See, that was not unrealistic.
I still think it's actually happening that way too. Yeah.
And if you were doing the right thing, but they did the wrong thing, like let's say, you were moving them towards that, break up in a good way or, stay together or whatever, and you were moving them towards a real marriage, a real reality, or a real friendship where they break up but realize that, they're not cut out for marriage or whatever it is. That we've already said you're not, so, maybe they're not. So And I'm not, obviously, I'm not interested in having a significant other. I'm happy, you know, living with Franny and Greg, you know. I'm a professional house guest, as you are. Basically, that's
it is when I'm happiest, I have to admit. That's true.
You and I are both professional house guests, you know. And so, but if they, see, that's not your failure.
Right.
That's their failure.
Yeah, I realized that later.
And in other words, and also, in order to achieve the objective of getting in touch with reality and, you know, becoming, you know, being like, you know, either having a good breakup or staying together, maybe they needed to fail a little bit or to understand how toxic and insane their behaviors and objectives and the illusions they were maintaining were.
Yes.
Okay? Now,
Yes.
okay, so what happened was I met with the husband, Georg, and I had a conversation with him. It was about an hour and 15 minutes. And I broke some very, you know, real news to him during that conversation. Well, he didn't like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want anybody telling him anything real.
Right.
So he got like crazy, went on the web, discovered I'm a charlatan. You know, I'm like, I use phony names and I have like 3 wives and stuff, you know, and I'm this is a cult, you know. And so he said to Jen, he went to Jen and he said, disconnect from them.
Right.
Now, he told Jen to disconnect from the thing that taught her how to cure the flu.
Exactly.
And she cured the flu, by her statement, 3 times. She cured 3 flus. She was very clear that she cured it. In other words, we taught her, I taught her, Bayard taught her how to cure a medically incurable disease. And she blithely, when this person, she's in this toxic relationship with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
She is absolutely certain that she wants to get away from him. He ordered her to disconnect from her ally, me, who taught her how to cure things, and she did it.
Well, he threatened her about that.
Disconnected from me.
He threatened that he would keep the children and call her crazy.
That's right. He threatened her. He said that if you stay with Bayard in this cult, I talked to my lawyer and we can take the children away from you. And Jen caved in. She collapsed and she disconnected from her ally and chose this sickness.
Yep.
So that's what she learned about herself, that's what she does. I think that's worth the price of admission, but she didn't. So she asked you for her money back, and you gave it to her.
Mm-hmm.
And when you did that, you rewarded her illness.
Mm-hmm.
You rewarded her for being sick.
I know.
So you damaged her.
Yep. I damaged myself and her.
Yep. And so the question is, like when you were feeling, before you gave her the money back and you were feeling so terrible about the situation, you were just feeling awful and you were so confused, just like a minute ago when you said, like, but wait a minute, why should I want to be famous? What, like there's, what's, like, there's something really wrong with that. Like you were, like right in there.
I wasn't inside of it. I wasn't trusting, you know, like I knew that all that stuff that they were happening, well, that's their immersion course. There we go. That's what they paid for. Here we go. You know, that's what they were getting the result. But I didn't like that having these people sort of attack me and my, they weren't even attacking you yet. They were attacking, you know, my integrity.
They attacked me through you.
Yeah.
They used you to attack me.
And then he had her do his bidding for him, like he forced her to do all that, which she, you know, that was her symptom.
Well, they know I'm not going to go for it.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not going to talk to me. They know I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go for that.
But I just wanted them off my back. I actually, I
Oh,
kept
no.
part of it.
Barb,
I kept-
no.
Because
No, no,
their
no, no.
idea was.
See,
that
here's the
York-
thing, okay?
York was not
Now,
ready.
what you were just saying a couple minutes ago, we were talking about you going out, asking people for money, walking down the street, asking people donate something, put this on your car, and you until you're famous, and then you say, but gee, should I want to be famous? Like, what isn't there something wrong with me wanting to be famous?
This way though, here's what it was though, because I have given, like Jen and I share 256 Facebook friends or more than that. I've given her all my friends. I thought she was with us and coming here and everything. I really like her as a friend and as a person.
That was a virtual reality.
Yeah, that was a virtual reality. And then she insinuated, or there was a few clues in there that she was that she sort of had gotten some of my friends, like this was unethical. Like they paid for something and they didn't get it. Like any business, like a fitness client didn't show up.
Okay, wait, stop. Okay, stop.
It made me sound unethical.
Stop.
And,
Okay,
dishonest.
stop. Okay, hold on a second.
So I didn't want
Before, okay, so here's to go back to what we're talking about. Okay, your illness, okay, the thing that you have to cure in order to have money, have a life, and also to tip Cure and to do what I need you to do, but to also do what you need to do for yourself. The thing that's destroying you, and Greg, and Franny, and probably Ross. Well, Ross, I have to say, I'm not so clear about precisely what your virtual realities are and how they damage your life. I don't really know that much about you that way. I hope that you're learning from listening to me talk to Greg and Barb about this. And the same with Nell. I could say that to you too. Now, I don't really know enough about you to know what virtual realities you try to maintain, how they mess up your life. So we're just you doing this with Barb and Greg, and also maybe just right now with Barb. Your symptom is when you're afraid, when you walk down the street and you're afraid that people, like you have this high profile and you're afraid people are going to say, well, why does Barb want to be famous? Like I was looking at your Facebook wall and I had to scroll way down it and go days to see anything about the Cure Drive on your Facebook wall. There was nothing there. Nothing anybody, like if somebody goes to your Facebook wall, they're probably not going to scroll down till last week. You know, and what they're going to see is Marianne Williamson, and all this, all this stuff that you like, this, what is it, spiritual chewing gum is what Ram Dass called it,
Yeah.
It's spiritual chewing gum, watching spiritual television, and so you'll have all this stuff that you occupy your mind with to avoid the horror of what you're avoiding in your life, like you're not confronting this issue, this gigantic issue that you can't be you. You're not fucking allowed to be you. Because somebody might think there's something wrong with you. And you have to control what your 256 shitheads, your shithead Facebook friends that are also friends with Jen might think. And you know what? If Jen ever utters a peep to them about what she didn't get from you, you're supposed to bury her. You're supposed to say to her in front of them, hey, look at what you did. You sick fuck. You sick fucking slimeball creep. You ugly, hideous, monstrous, deformed thing that's not even human anymore because of what you made yourself into. And now you're going to go try to raise your children like this? Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
Listen to this movie Barb made that I made with Byard about you. I'm putting it on your Facebook wall. You and your creepy husband who uses emotional blackmail, and that's what he's going to do with his kids. That's what they've got. That's what you're turning them over to. You've got to get those kids out of there. He is not a fit parent. He's stoned on pot all the time. The guy never stops smoking pot. And you know what? I realized from knowing him, actually, this was Jerry Rosen's problem.
Yeah.
Jerry Rosen was stoned all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why he couldn't get a signal.
Yeah.
He could not get a signal. And when I was watching Bjork try to get a signal, and I said, well, okay, wait a minute. I see they didn't tell me that he smoked pot all day. Of course he can't get a signal. He's massively switched. You know, they went for more venture capital because his business was going under. This is what happens with people who live in a virtual reality. And at the same time, there are so many people who build empires and they continue to live in virtual realities. But you know what I have to say? Like, I was thinking about John Body today. Remember him?
Sure.
And you know, John Body always has, like, I called him probably 6 or 7 years ago. I got his number from somebody. I called him on the phone. And his 22-year-old fiancée answered. John Body has had a 22-year-old fiancée for the last 20 years. He's in a total virtual reality in his relationship with women. But when it came to his business, he's a stockbroker, and when it came to earning a living, he is a total realist. And you know what he used to do is he used to have his girlfriend come in. He'd go into the office on Saturday, and she would serial dial for him. She'd dial and get 5 people on hold waiting to talk to him, and he would pitch them. He had a quick pitch, and he would, he'd sell stock. He'd open accounts with them, and so he had all these customers, and then he realized all he needed was one. And he had this friend, this old friend, and I was talking to him. This was a very long time ago, and he was telling me, like, I have this friend who was like, worth a few $100 million, who he went to school with, and he said, like, if I could get his account, I'd be set for life. And that's what happened. He finally got the guy's account. It only takes one person. You know, that's what we keep talking about in these meetings. There's going to be one person who comes along, and that person is going to tip Cure into global consciousness. It's not any of us. But it may be somebody who one of us meets. I don't know. And it's also very unlikely, Barb, that if you're walking down the street trying to, if you're trying to control what people think of you, you are not going to be somebody who actually can connect with that person and, show this to them in such a way that, they'll understand and tip it, that they'll get behind it. Because you're going to be putting all your energy into controlling what people think of you. That's where your energy's going. That's where your power is going. Just like Franny's is going into her weight, and Greg's is going into his fantasies of whatever his life could be, or whatever. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it's not the kind of thing that tips anything. And it's pervasive. It's all the time.
Yeah. I mean, like, back to the thing with Jennifer. I mean, I smoke pot. I'm not stoned all day long, but I use pot, and You know, so I
Yes,
don't want to put.
there's probably tons of people who can be stoned on pot and get signals just fine. But they're not doing with it what he does with it or what Jerry Rosen did with it.
That's very true. That's
And
very
you
true.
were very
That's why I thought
different.
he didn't even come to the table to be able to confront that. So.
You and Jerry used to smoke pot together, but you
No,
weren't
I
like
never did.
Jerry. You were never like Jerry.
I know.
Jerry was a special case, you know? I mean, he was a black hole.
Yep.
And Georg is a black hole.
Yeah, you used to come and tell me things, Barb. You know, you were like the watcher.
I know.
And that was good. That was different from what Jerry did.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see, once. Yeah. It was less suppressive, I guess.
You know
Well,
what?
this is inspiring. I'm inspired. This is good.
You know what we
So
should go
feel
back
free.
to talking to? What was the woman's name again?
Which one? Brene?
Brene. Okay, let's talk about Brene for a minute. The most important thing that Brene said was that shame.
Yeah, that's what I have. Shame.
Shame is associated with all kinds of pathological conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And you retreat into virtual reality because you care too much about what people think of you. And there's another thing I want you to know. Are you typing something? Don't. Just be with me.
Okay.
What I want you to... This is important for you to understand this, Barb. That when you're hurt because some woman doesn't love you that you've built a virtual reality about,
Yes.
that is just as satisfying as if she leads you on and tells you that she loves you and she's coming to be with you in Santa Fe.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's got some weird...
Because you've still got a girlfriend. It's just that she's not, she doesn't love you. She's rejected you, but she's the one. It's still out there. It's just as real.
Yeah.
So it's just as virtually real. So all of that bullshit that's the virtual reality. And in a way, it doesn't really matter whether you're happy or sad. You're passionate about having the virtual reality.
Yeah.
You will sacrifice your happiness to have it. Your happiness... Listen, this is what I learned from watching people cure things. You watched Jen, right? And she cured the flu 3 times. Presumably, that felt good and she was happier, yes?
Yes.
It meant nothing. Absolutely nothing. She doesn't care about being happy. She cares about her virtual reality.
That's true.
That's what she wants.
Yeah. She doesn't see how to have it now. She thinks she has to wait or, behave a certain way now to get something later. She thinks she'll come back, like I said, she could clear it up with all of us within an hour. Once she gets the chance, but she thinks the guy's got her afraid to talk to us.
Okay, look, I'll tell you something about B.F. Skinner. I've been thinking about this whole virtual reality thing for these several weeks now, two weeks maybe, and I keep coming back to the same thing, from my college years, how you take certain things you remember from college.
Yeah.
You don't remember much, but you remember certain things,
Factoring quadratic equations.
Exactly, Okay. B.F. Skinner trained a pigeon to do 110,000 keypecks for 1 pellet of reward.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's you.
So then your whole life becomes key pecking.
Mm-hmm. You cannot care. You cannot have a virtual reality. All you can have is reality. And also, you cannot generate virtual realities for other people and try to involve them in them.
Right.
Which means you cannot give a shit what people think about you when you're famous. I have to tell you something about Jane Fonda. I think it's obvious to all of us that Jane Fonda saved the world a few times over during her lifetime. You know, there were just some things that she did that really changed everything. You know, film roles she played or whatever, you know. And one of them was sitting on those dams in Vietnam. And when she sat on those dams, she was vilified. She was hated. Like, people wanted to shoot her. They were like people who wanted to assassinate her. She was despised for doing that. She also saved 5 million people's lives. And when you do big things, you are hated and loved. And when you do jack shit, you are neither. You are just like, you know, sort of like treated as a pet and tolerated and, you know, cared about and stuff. And, you know, people like you because you're cute and whatever, but it's not the same. So I'm asking everybody here to be big. You know, I'm asking us to actually get well and be like real and in reality and do very large things in reality, like have a very large effect on the world. And you know, and the advantage to you of doing that is that it's a healthy thing to do, and it's not healthy to be the other way. And you live a lot longer if you do your life the way I'm suggesting it, and you die sooner if you don't. You know, one thing I noticed, by the way, about Greg's father, it's interesting, you know, because he hasn't taken care of himself very well in his declining years, you know. But, you know, one thing I have to say is that
physically.
Yeah, physically, that's right. We were talking about physically. But here was a guy who did enormous things in the world. And, you know, he's lived a long time. And Franny's father's another example, somebody who will not stop working, who continues to create. He continues to do his artwork. He continues to make statements to the world. That's what artists do. And he's like, you know, 94 and still trucking along. So it works, you know. It makes people healthy to care about reality and to try to accomplish something.
This is great.
Like,
This is really good.
Yeah, asking you to really accomplish something.
I've really hurt myself over trying to, you know, fit in or do what I think I should do to feel normal or feel part of the community or be liked. And if I just do what I know to do myself, I'm a lot happier. I like my life and myself better, which I do right now. But that's, you know, partially because I have you guys, you know, I have something that's really important to me, and that's really kind of all I need.
Well, see, there's something else that we have to also consider right here. Because if we do give up our virtual realities, it does not necessarily mean that we are in touch with reality completely and know what to do. Because reality is a study. You know, and just because I wasn't finished telling you what Brene said. Brene Brown. What she was saying is that shame is associated with a lot of pathological conditions, such as depression, anxiety, I mean, you name it, addiction, whatever.
I have all those, yeah.
But guilt, on the other hand, is associated with emotional health and improvement.
That's weird.
Like when you feel guilty, you're on your way to doing better. For example, the other day, I think a lot of us don't realize that, because the other day, I think it was yesterday, I was telling Franny that Birdie, my kitty, was dying and she asked for my help and I ignored her.
It's like Griffin. Yep.
I was involved in these other things and I just simply ignored her. I was in a virtual reality at the time and I didn't know it. I was telling myself, well, the CureTeam meeting is on that. Today's the CureTeam meeting and I have to focus on that. That's a virtual reality right there.
Yep.
Okay? When I said that, it's a CureTeam meeting and I have to focus on that, that's bullshit. People use, like they say, oh, I've committed myself to this person, so blah, blah, blah. That's a virtual reality. It's always an alarm, a red flag. If you're using something as an excuse to ignore reality, you're in a virtual reality.
Mm-hmm.
And Bertie's dead.
That's what happened to Griffin.
Somebody else paid the price for my virtual reality usage. And I am guilty. And I was saying this to Franny, and she said, will you stop blaming yourself and all this shit? But you know what? I keep thinking, I'm not blaming myself. I'm not making myself miserable. I actually do link my celestial body with Bertie, and I feel good. But I have to keep reminding myself of what I did wrong, because otherwise I'm going to do it again. And you know what, Greg? You got to do a very, very serious assessment of your life. Like you hear Barb doing here. You really do. And you got to look at what you have done and are doing wrong and keep looking at it. And make sure that you're not still doing it. And stop using your time in the wrong way and send in your taxes. And get get the stuff that you have to get done. Get it done. And then and free up your time so that you can like be ahead. Stay ahead so that you can actually engineer how you're going to find supporters and a potential, maybe find an ally, but reach out to supporters and actually do that. Like you need to assess yourself and cure things on the way to doing that and tweet about that. That's for you what being in touch with reality is. Remember when you went to work on your brother's place and I was saying that you're in touch with reality?
I remember going and I remember talking to you that you said I was in. Yes, I remember saying that.
Yeah,
sure.
Because that was like the equivalent of me hearing Bertie.
Sure.
And saying, okay, I better go do this because
Sure, it's not, I know this.
He needs this. So there's an example of a successful behavior, an effective behavior. You did something, you were in touch with reality. Like, do that more and the other, like eliminate the other. Do it with that and other things. Do it with other things, You with me?
Sure.
Okay. Well. Okay. In this case, I think this is good for our meeting, yes?
Yeah, I'm psyched up.
Anybody else want to say anything?
Yes, me. What are the 2 things we need to do to keep immunity?
Okay, one of them is practice, and the other one is talk to people who can make a difference. And only talking to only those people matter for that one. But you can practice with anybody. You can practice with somebody who's never going to make a difference. Like somebody who isn't even going to learn it, you could still practice with them. You can practice with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Just say and do the right thing with the person you're with and you're practicing. So you can do it anywhere, anytime. Greg can do it with his brother and his brother's girlfriend. You can do it anywhere and anytime.
Yep.
And just practice. No problem. So those are the 2 things. Practice. And from practice, then you learn how to identify and talk to people who are potential supporters and allies. And every time you tweet, you're learning to do it.
True.
Every time you tweet, you're learning to do it. And I notice, by the way, that, see, I'm reading these tweets that people are sending, and I'm listening to, I think some of you could give TED Talks, you know, from the tweets you send. You know, I'm thinking, boy, this is great, you know, wow, this is, it's involving, it's so cool, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, good. Okay, anybody else want to say anything or ask anything?
Congratulations, Nell.
Congratulations, Nell.
Keep it up.
Oh, yes.
You know something? After the lift, I felt so free. I was lying in bed. I was waking around. I'm free. It felt like super free. It was amazing.
Wow.
I put the box down on you.
That's absolutely great. Okay, anybody else want to say anything? Franny, do you have a last defining word?
No, I was just thinking about what you were saying about Birdie. I think it's the speed at which you get to the reality that matters a lot too, because there might have been nothing you could do. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There might have been nothing, but at least you wouldn't have let her go so long.
Yes.
Same with me and Griffin. Like, I could tell that she was having troubles for a long time, but I didn't totally.
Yeah, so if we're in the moment, the speed at which we hail things is much better. And that's for Greg too, like doing your taxes, it's the speed. It's very slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll, like, once you clear the decks, I spent the last couple of years, like, totally, like, clearing the decks. That's one of the reasons I moved. I don't want anything that I have to do other than go do what, you know, you were saying.
Yeah.
Like, I could just walk out the door now with nothing holding me back.
Well, living in New York was nice for me that way.
Yeah, this is kind of like New York that way. All right, better go to it. It's rush hour for the tourists.
All right, see you guys later.
Right.
Bye.
Wonderful
Thanks,
being with you.
Love you. Bye. Ciao.
Here you see the home page of curedrive.org, which is the Cure College on the web that we have put here for you to come learn how to cure medically incurable diseases. Now, at the top of the page, the home page, which you should be on right here, and I want to recommend, if you have not already, get to this page by opening a tab. Do not turn this movie off. Open a tab so that you can still hear me talking. And leave this tab open and then go to this website. Now, the tally that you see, 132K, people ask, where does that come from? And if you notice, right above it, and this is, by the way, on every page in the web college, it says Report Cure. If I click on that, it goes to a page where there's a little form to fill out where you can report your cures. Now I will press the incredible back button and go back to the home page of curedrive.org. And also, if you want to contact us, there's a little link here that says Contact. And you'll notice that we put our phone numbers in here. We feel more comfortable being called on the phone. So it's just easier to talk, and this is a very big subject, and we find that it saves us time and work if people call us. Now we document our cures. This movie that you're watching here is an example of that. This is a movie where people cure things on camera, and you watch them. You watch them curing things. For example, the woman here and at this point in the movie is curing a flu. And if you watch this movie, you'll discover that she comes in with fully developed flu symptoms, including headache and God knows what else, and the symptoms disappear in around 20 minutes. That's how fast this is. Personally, I have not had a flu even try to come on since 1993, when I cured my herpes. My 20th anniversary, by the way, just passed. 20th anniversary of my herpes cure in April of 2013. Okay, if you look again above the Cure Drive, logo, I guess it is, and what you'll see is the Cure Show. There's a link to go to the Cure Show. And the Cure Shows are another way that we documented our cures. And for example, you'll find letters at the top of the Cure Show, and if you click the letter F, it takes you to fibromyalgia, where you see a lot of, or 2 people curing fibromyalgia actually. And underneath it, there are many, many shows on flu. We had a flu hotline. And what you'll find with this is that people with similar conditions get parallel results. Like these people who cured their flu, or I don't think we ever had a person come in to cure the flu that, was just getting it. They all had it for a couple of days. There they are. And you hear their flu cure during the call in around 20 minutes. So there are about 100 diseases represented on this page. Acid reflux, abuse. There are, conditions can be considered diseases also. Such as traumatic stress syndrome from 9/11, the World Trade Center attack. A woman actually cured her traumatic stress syndrome from that. So now if we're back on the home page again, and up here at the top it says Login Hub and or sign up. If you don't have a password, you can sign up, or you can log in and you come to the hub of the Cure College. This is the hub, not the home page. And new people who come here, many people just come in and get a password right away. They instantly get a password and come in, and they say, "What is this?" It's gigantic. Over here, this is the basic skill. Skill 1 is cure physical diseases. And it has 10 applications. Remove viruses, cure cancer, end trauma, recode your DNA. With certain diseases, you must recode your DNA to cure the disease. This may be true, for example, of viral-based diseases such as herpes simplex, Epstein-Barr, and so on. And each one has 2 links underneath it. Now if I click on where it says lessons under Recode Your DNA, and these are the lessons. There's this huge page of lessons on recoding DNA. And one of the lessons is remove adverse DNA mutations you catch from other people. Bet you didn't know you were doing that. But you do, and here's the lesson on that, and then you scroll down and there's all these questions. That's how the lessons work. You probably, if this is the first movie you've ever watched, you are probably not ready for a password right now. But you should probably know this is here at the same time, and some things about it. For example, Here's an application of skill 1, which is, what is skill 1, do you recall? Cure physical diseases, right? And it's called the safety web. See it? Right here, the safety web. If I click on that, what I come to is a page of lessons about, and there's quite a few lessons on this page, about the safety web. Now basically, it's very simple. God isn't going to let you fail. You know, a woman asked me, I was telling her to remove all bacteria from her physical body. And she said, well, if I remove all bacteria from my physical body, what, you know, will I remove my beneficial intestinal bacteria? And I said, no. You're not going to remove your beneficial intestinal bacteria. You're going to, you know, God won't let you do that. You know, you're safe. However, there's more to the safety web than that. So you'd want to know about the safety web. Also, there's an application called Knowingness is Power. Most people ignore it. The reason it's here is because knowingness is curative. A lot of times things that you cure happen just because you know something. Now, curing physical diseases is the lowest level of study in this web college. For example, here, which is in the mid-level, there's a skill called 3 spiritual diseases. Do you see it? That's only skill 9. There are 12 skills. So another one is about function. Reinstall your functions. Another one is about reclaiming your immune system so that you can be immune to these things and you won't have to cure cancer or herpes. You won't not get it. As I said before, have not had a flu in 20 years. I haven't had a flu even try to come on in the last 20 years. Okay. If you're not ready for a password yet, and by the way, when you're new, you're probably better off with one of these options. These are the best options for new people, which are next to the movie. And that's when you know you want to start and you're ready. You're ready. You've like learned it and you understand how to do it. What you probably want to start getting a signal first. And if you notice under this movie, you should start getting a signal when you watch during this movie, which is now 4.5 hours, and there's many illustrations of people getting signals. So hopefully you'll pick it up while you're doing that. But if not, there's an entire page of signals, including a movie that plays automatically at the top, which is you know, a very good lesson with a lot of very serious people getting signals as the movie goes along, you know, and illustrating how they get signals. And then there are all these other movies about signals as you go down the page. This little tripod is wandering. I'm trying to hold this with my hand while I show this to you. So now, that's an example of some of the other things that are on here. This is our Twitter feed, this black thing, so that you can see what advanced people, because everybody who posts on this has been doing it for a while and, you know, are curing things. You know, a lot of these people have already cured their herpes or their other thing that they came to cure, their chronic fatigue syndrome and so on, and now they're, you know, this is just some things I cooked. It's not about cooking, okay? But anyway, there's, you know, lots of people just talking about what they're, you know, the more advanced things that they're doing. And these are all people who've cured many things in the past and probably never get the flu, as I don't. None of us ever get the flu anymore. We don't get sick in that way. That's pretty basic, not getting the flu. So if you're not ready for a password, the thing to do is just keep watching movies. And let me show you something about that. There are lots of movies to watch. Here's one that says I cured it in 10 minutes, and lots of people are interested in this. This is a popular movie. This woman is very experienced with this. She's been doing it about 15 years. And but see, if you go down on this movie to here where it says YouTube, and let's click on this. Let's go to the YouTube page, which is the same movie. See, you're on the same movie now. And right underneath it, there's something that says, let me just show this to you. Cure Drive is the account that the movie is in. And you see it says it has 352 videos. So the thing to do is to click on that and go in to the Cure Drive account with the 352 movies. And then, once you're there, subscribe to the account so that you can get back to it easily. And then there are other accounts too. This is not the only account. Some of them only have 25 movies. There's about 10 different accounts. But there's another one that has 250 something movies on it. This is deceptively simple and easy. As you watch these people in these movies, the cure is always instantaneous. And it gives the impression that it's over and you don't have to continue. You don't have to study. And then you get sick again because you didn't get deep enough and get everything. With that being said, I want to show you these women curing something instantly and leave you with the thought that it's probably not going to be what you expected it to be. I think when you watch these women, that's what you see here, that it's probably not going to be what you expected it to be, but it does cure, it probably will if you hang in there and stick with it. You probably will cure the thing you came to cure. Say, can I go to the 144th dimension? See if you get a signal on that. Can I go to the 144th dimension?
Can I go to the 144th dimension? Yes? I guess I can.
Go ahead and do it.
Okay,
Okay.
both of you go to the 144th dimension.
I'm taking myself to the 144th dimension.
Me too.
No stopping for gas on the 8th dimension.
I feel clear.
I feel less interested in anything below the 144th dimension.
Can we stay here all the time?
I know, exactly.